There is a quiet enemy that stalks every dream, every ambition, every ounce of potential you possess. It doesn't scream, it doesn't confront, it whispers, it seduces. It offers you safety, ease, and the illusion of peace. That enemy is comfort. Comfort is not your friend. It is the subtle poison that keeps you from rising. It convinces you that where you are is good enough. It tells you to slow down, to settle, to stop reaching. It rewards you with short-term pleasure and robs you of long-term greatness. And if you listen to it long enough, it will not only delay your growth, it will destroy your future. The hard road is where transformation lives. It is the path where few dare to walk because it demands something from you. It demands discipline, persistence, courage, and sacrifice. But it also gives something in return. It gives you character. It gives you strength. It gives you power. Power not over others, but over yourself. Comfort is one of the most dangerous forces a person can fasten not because it's loud or violent, but because it's quiet, easy, and seductive. It doesn't confront you. It soothes you. It wraps itself around your life in the form of habits, routines, and justifications. Comfort tells you that what you've done is enough, that you've come far enough, that maybe you deserve to rest now. It convinces you to hit the snooze button, to delay that project one more day, to put off your potential in exchange for momentary ease. It doesn't scream failure, it whispers compromise. What makes comfort so dangerous is that it feels good, it feels safe, it offers relief, and in a world full of chaos and noise, that relief is tempting. But what it takes in return is far greater than what it gives. Over time, it begins to dull your edge. It silences your hunger. It slowly convinces you to trade your fire for familiarity. You stop pushing, you stop reaching, you stop becoming. And in that stillness, your dreams begin to die not all at once, but piece by piece. People rarely notice when comfort starts to take over because it disguises itself as peace. It feels like balance. It even feels like happiness at first. But underneath, there is a subtle erosion. The goals you once chased with passion now seem too big. The risks you used to take now seem unnecessary. The person you were trying to become now feels too distant. Comfort doesn't destroy you in a moment. It destroys you slowly, over time, by convincing you that where you are is good enough. Most people won't see the damage until it's already deep. They wake up years later and wonder where their ambition went, where their edge went, where their identity went. They don't remember the moment they stopped fighting. They only feel the weight of all the things they didn't do. Comfort never tells you what it's costing you in the moment. It only shows its price once it's too late to go back. It's not just about productivity or success. It's about purpose. It's about becoming. Comfort keeps you the same when life is begging you to evolve. It keeps you grounded when your spirit wants to rise. The truth is, you can't become who you're meant to be if you never leave the space that feels easy. Nothing great has ever come from choosing what's comfortable. No strong mind, no powerful leader, no creator, no warrior, no visionary was shaped in ease. They were forged in fire, in moments of pressure, in environments that demanded more. The longer you live in comfort, the more it becomes a prison. A soft one, padded with excuses and wrapped in false peace, but a prison nonetheless. It limits your growth. It weakens your will. And worst of all, it convinces you that this is all there is, that where you are is all you'll ever be. And slowly the fire that once burned in you fades into a quiet, forgettable glow. The hard road is the path where real transformation happens. It's not paved with ease or predictability. It's filled with discomfort, resistance, and challenges that test your mind, your will, and your purpose. But it's in those moments of resistance that strength is born. Not the kind of strength people can see on the outside, but the kind that fortifies you from within, the kind that allows you to keep going when everything else tells you to stop. The hard road doesn't ask if you're ready. It asks if you're willing. Willing to endure, to sacrifice, to do what others won't in order to build a life others can't. Growth demands that you do more than what's comfortable. It demands that you face the things you fear, the things you avoid, and the things that expose your weakness. That's why most people choose the easy path, not because they lack potential, but because they lack the commitment to face the pain that growth requires. The easy path gives you quick rewards. It keeps you safe. But it also keeps you soft. It never develops the discipline you need to rise beyond average. Discipline is built in early mornings, in long nights, in showing up when you don't feel like it. It's built on repetition, on failure, on trying again and again without seeing results until one day the results show up and you realize the struggle was the training. The hard road builds focus. When you choose the path of resistance, you're forced to become intentional. You stop wasting time. You stop getting distracted. The pressure clarifies your priorities. It filters out what doesn't matter. You learn how to say no. You learn how to push past mental limits, how to override emotion with purpose, how to keep walking when your legs are shaking and your mind is screaming for you to turn back. That's not something you can learn by reading or watching others. You learn it by doing the work, by being in the fire and refusing to run from the heat. Resilience is another gift of the hard road. When you've been through adversity, when you've failed and gotten back up, when you've endured loss, setbacks, and rejection, you begin to understand that pain is not the enemy, it's the instructor. It teaches you what you're made of. It teaches you that you can be knocked down and still rise, that you can lose and still win, that you can suffer and still succeed. The hard road doesn't just prepare you for victory, it makes you worthy of it. It molds your mindset, sharpens your instincts, and builds a level of self-trust that can't be shaken by circumstance. Taking the hard road doesn't mean you enjoy the struggle. It means you value what the struggle creates. It means you're willing to trade temporary comfort for permanent growth. You're willing to be misunderstood, underestimated, and alone if that's what it takes to evolve. Because on the other side of the hard road is not just success, it's transformation. Not just achievement, but mastery. And that only comes to those who refuse to settle for easy. Greatness is not handed out freely. It doesn't show up for those who wish for it, talk about it, or wait for the right moment. It is earned through sacrifice, through the moments where you have to give more than you thought you had, through the choices that test your priorities and your values. Every person who's ever done something meaningful has paid a price. Sometimes that price is comfort, sometimes it's sleep, time, relationships, or even reputation. But the truth remains, if you want greatness, if you want to rise above the average, it will cost you something. There is no shortcut to the top. The road to real success winds through struggle, uncertainty, and hard decisions. It demands that you give up distractions and focus on what actually moves you forward. It asks that you delay gratification and develop the patience to build something over time. People talk about success as if it's a moment, a destination, but it's not. It's a result, the result of sacrifices stacked one on top of another until you build something that others can't see, let alone touch. Sacrifice isn't about loss, it's about investment. You give up what doesn't serve you in order to create space for what does. You stop indulging in comfort because you know that comfort has a cost. You walk away from quick pleasures because you're aiming for deep fulfillment. You say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. This is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the ability to look at your life honestly and remove what doesn't align with your highest self. The world will tempt you to stay comfortable. It will encourage you to slow down, to enjoy life, to not take things so seriously. And there is value in rest, in joy, in presence. But there is a difference between resting and quitting, between relaxing and avoiding. Those who reach high levels of success don't hate comfort, they simply don't depend on it. They understand that there are seasons for pushing, for grinding, for cutting back on everything that drains energy. They understand that temporary sacrifice leads to long-term freedom. When you choose sacrifice, you build resilience. You train your mind to resist the easy option. You create discipline that doesn't rely on motivation. You begin to understand the value of your time, your energy, and your vision. You stop giving your life to things that don't push you forward. And in that space of intentional sacrifice, you begin to separate yourself, not out of arrogance, but out of purpose, because you know what you're chasing matters. You know what's at stake if you don't give your all. Success is never accidental. It is crafted through deliberate choices made again and again, often in silence, often without praise. But each time you make that choice, each time you prioritize growth over ease, you move one step closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. You don't get that for free. You get that through sacrifice, through choosing what's hard, through giving up the unnecessary in order to claim the extraordinary. Responsibility is the turning point between wishing for change and becoming the change. Until you take full ownership of your life, your actions, your habits, your thoughts, your choices, nothing meaningful will shift. Blaming your circumstances, your past, or other people might give you temporary relief, but it keeps you trapped. It keeps you small. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of waiting for something or someone else to fix what only you can. The truth is, the moment you stop pointing fingers and start taking control, everything begins to change a note instantly but permanently. When you take responsibility, you reclaim your power. You're no longer at the mercy of the world around you. You become the author of your decisions, the architect of your outcomes. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect. It doesn't mean struggle disappears. It means you meet challenges with a different mindset. Instead of asking why something is happening to you, you start asking what you're going to do about it. That shift in perspective is what separates those who rise from those who remain the same. It's easy to get caught in the trap of excuses. It's easy to justify why you haven't started, why you gave up, why things didn't work out. But excuses, no matter how convincing, don't change your life. They don't move you forward. They don't build character, and they don't build results. Only ownership does. When you take full responsibility, you take control of the narrative. You stop giving your energy to things you can't control and start investing it into the things you can. Your attitude, your habits, your work ethic, your response to failure. Taking responsibility also means facing the uncomfortable truth that you are the biggest factor in your own growth. It's not your environment, not your upbringing, not your relationships. It's you. That realization can be heavy, but it's also freeing. Because if you're the problem, you're also the solution. If you've made mistakes, you can make changes. If you've fallen behind, you can move forward. Responsibility gives you the ability to rewrite your story, not just in theory, but in action. This mindset isn't always popular. It's easier to blame the world than to examine yourself. It's easier to scroll, to complain, to compare than to put in the internal work. But the hard truth is, until you stop looking outside yourself for the answer, you'll never find it. Everything you need to rebuild your life is already within you. But it won't activate until you decide that your life is your job. Not your parents', not society's, not your partner's yours. There is a quiet confidence that comes from owning your path. You start to trust yourself more. You stop waiting for someone else to validate your effort or rescue your progress. You begin to operate from a place of internal leadership. You give yourself direction and you follow through. And in doing that, day after day, you begin to build a life that's not controlled by circumstances, but created through conscious, consistent responsibility. Self-respect isn't built through words or wishes, it's earned through actions, especially the ones no one sees. It's forged in the quiet moments when you make a hard choice simply because it's the right one, when you push through discomfort instead of running from it, when you do what needs to be done even though no one is watching and no one is clapping. That's the foundation of true self-respect. It's not about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself when you're alone with your thoughts. And the most powerful way to strengthen that relationship with yourself is by doing the hard things consistently. When you choose what's hard over what's easy, you're sending a message to your mind that you are not a slave to convenience or fear. You're saying, I can handle challenge, I can face pain, I can lead myself. That message, repeated through action, begins to shift your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to be pushed and start becoming someone who pulls themselves forward. This is where confidence grows, not from external validation, but from internal consistency. It's a kind of strength that doesn't scream. It just is. Quiet, unshakable, earned. The more you choose discipline, the more trust you build with yourself. Think about that. Most people have no real trust in themselves because they constantly break promises to their own standards. They say they'll wake up early, but they hit snooze. They say they'll start that goal, but they wait another week. Over time, those small choices add up, not just in missed opportunities, but in self-doubt. When you stop believing your own word, you stop growing. You don't respect someone who lies to you, and the same is true for the relationship you have with yourself. But when you start doing what you said you would do, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, the trust gets rebuilt. You begin to carry yourself differently. You speak with more clarity. You walk with more purpose. And the world can feel that. The energy of someone who honors their own standards doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need attention. It simply exists, and that existence commands respect without asking for it. Choosing the hard path, especially in silence, builds resilience that no shortcut ever could. It develops a kind of mental toughness that can't be taught, it has to be lived. There's no pretending in the face of adversity. There's only action. And that action is what separates those who talk about change from those who embody it. When you show up for yourself in private, life tends to show up for you in public. Not because of magic, but because of momentum. You start making better decisions. You stop chasing approval. You move with integrity, knowing that you've earned the right to believe in yourself, and with every disciplined act, that belief deepens. That's how self-respect is built, not through comfort, but through repeated acts of inner alignment, through showing up when no one is watching, through proving over and over that you are the kind of person who does the hard things, not because you have to, but because you choose to. Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together.